Cool.
All right. Hi, everyone. I am DJ Crouton here today with Merlyn Wood, and it's great to have you, man.
Hey, thanks for having me, Colton.
No problem. I appreciate you actually being here. How are you doing today?
I'm blessed to be breathing, honestly, man.
Mm. You mentioned that you're on GMT time. I think on your Instagram, are you in Ghana at the moment?
Yeah, I'm in Ghana right now. Yeah,
So how's it been there?
man, it's been so much fun. It's a different culture. Like the way that people interact with music is
Mhm.
so much more tangible here. Like if a kid hears music in the street, they're just gonna start dancing.
Mm.
Um, it's just different. Like, and I love how much music is a part of like the everyday life, like how much joy is a part of everyday life, and it just feels like one big community.
So it's a very positive energy there.
Yeah, totally, totally.
Have you been taking that in at all to your current music process, like making your own solo stuff?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, totally. I feel like if I was to open a restaurant, it would be all the flavors of all the different places I've been. It would be like Korean barbecue from
Mhm.
LA, it'd be like, barbecue from Texas. It would be all of the different flavors mixed together. Like, and I feel like just being in Ghana, I'm getting more spices and different experiences to kind of add to my repertoire. Like I'm understanding different rhythms and different ways that music can be used too.
Mhm. That's like really good to hear. And again, I've been following, both Brockhampton and your solo stuff for a while, probably since I believe the Saturation trilogy came out. So I've been a big fan. And I do want to focus a lot on your solo music today. So first off, I wanted to ask, what's it like writing, solo and making your own solo music without a whole collective, just by yourself?
Um, it's freeing, honestly, in a lot of ways. Uh, I don't know. I'm so hesitant with the words I choose because I try not to look at like the feedback people say. But I remember one time, like people felt like me when I was talking about my solo music, people Brockhampton fans felt like I was saying that like, oh yo, Brockhampton stopped me from doing what I want to do at Brockhampton, held me back. And it's not that. It's just like I don't think people understand that when you're making music in a group setting where it's like, okay, you may have to be responsible for like 1/5 of a song or 0% of a song. You might have to give your opinion on a song. It's
Hmm.
way different than it's way less responsibility than making a song by yourself and like you have to decide every decision about the song from the arrangement to the lyrics to what qualifies as good or not. Um, but it's more responsibility doing it by yourself, but it's also there's more authority that comes with that. And like in Brockhampton, I had less of a say just because there's so many great musicians
Right.
that like not everybody can be like, oh, it should be like this, it should be like that. Like
Mhm.
I'm not really trying to say like I'm not trying to sound ungrateful. I'm just saying that like as an individual, I get to make all the decisions in the music. And that has its own unique challenges and its unique benefits in that like I get to make all the decisions, but I have to make all the decisions.
Right. That makes sense. And so basically just the responsibility is something that you have to get used to a little more.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, yeah, I'll say so. Yeah, sure.
And you're still, working with other people. I know a producer that you've been working with a lot is Connie. And I wanted to know, like, are you going to be working with him like a lot more in the future? Is that like a producer we can see a lot on your first like big solo album or mixtape or EP or anything like that?
You'll see. I mean, I think Connor's super talented. Like, I love what he brings to the table. He really thinks differently, and he's not afraid to really go out into the beyond and add to the story of music rather than just copy pasta what's already been done.
Right. Yeah. And I know he has kind of like a style that's a little more like aggressive, I think, than most producers nowadays. I know the other artist he's been working with is like Jaleel a lot. Um which and I like his style of production. I think it fits with you very well. So I would like to see, like a full project or whatever, maybe not just with him, but featuring a lot of his beats. I think it's very fitting for you. And I do want to focus again a lot on your solo work. Do you have any plans to release any like major album or anything anytime soon?
You'll see.
Okay.
Yeah, Connie is actually putting out a project this month. I think I'm maybe like tomorrow. I don't remember. I
Oh,
think either the first single coming out tomorrow or which will be tonight. Or the album coming out. The album definitely coming out this month. But yeah, a full Connie project is coming out. So like, if you like what me and Connie made, definitely go check out what Connie's doing by himself. He's really doing his own thing. Like he's on his own wave, not afraid to be different.
are you featured on that at all, or are you just putting us on right now?
I'm putting you on Connie, man.
Okay,
Like, go check out that new Connie. Come on.
I got you.
Yeah.
Okay. I know you mentioned that I could ask about this, and it got me really curious. Back last year, Amir Vann posted some clips on his Instagram, and some of the tracks featured you. I was wondering, what exact is that? A whole tape, or is it just a couple songs that you guys have? Can you go into that at all, or you want to hold back?
Nah, it's something that we're really proud of.
Mhm.
Me and Amir, we really started our journey into music together. We were like 14, and I, we're pivotal parts of each other. Like we both see like ourselves in each other in a way. Like I think there's a part of me that is inside him, and there's a part of me inside him. But I think I just said the same thing twice. But yo, I feel like y'all know, like when you know somebody since like you're just like basically a kid, and it's like
Right.
you go on a whole journey together, and it's like wow, like we've seen so much on this musical journey together that it only feels right that we continue together and put out a full project with just us two.
So it is a full project with just you two.
Yeah.
That's very exciting to hear. I don't even know. I haven't seen anything online about that, so I don't know if that's your first time ever actually saying that or confirming it, but that's very exciting. Are there any, producers at all other than Connie that we can maybe expect to see on that project that you guys have been working with?
The so far the project is produced totally by Connie.
Oh, wow. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So again, he is kind of going to be the go-to for that. And you in general is pretty much just Connie right now, or
Mhm.
okay, that's very exciting to hear. And I also did want to ask, you mentioned going into like your you and Amir, you had kind of like the same or a similar musical upbringing, or at least at the same time. I kind of want you to get into that a little bit because from what I understand, you kind of had some like just seeing online a little bit, you had some roots in jazz music a little bit, correct?
Yeah, I mean, I'm in Ghana right now. I actually started playing music and finding my passion for music in Ghana. Like I was in a gospel band
Right.
in Ghana, and yeah, and I also started rapping here in Ghana. And as soon as I came back to the States around 2010 is when I met Amir, among other members of Brockhampton, and Amir had just had Amir had just started rapping around that time, so we kind of both just like fed off each other's energy.
Right.
I was a little bit further ahead at the time. Like I've been writing for like maybe like a year or something like that, but I felt like I was like an expert or something. And I had like the technicality, and Amir had like the life experiences that I think make a really interesting story. It's like that's how you get great music. Is like you combine the technicality, you know, like the fiasco, like the experience of like a Victor Roberts on Ginger.
Right.
And that's like why you have something incredibly special. And I think we just feed off of each other. Like, because when I say there's a part of me inside him and vice versa, it's like he sees my lyricism and like that makes him be like, oh, okay, I have to step up on like a biblical verse level. And then I see how honest and truthful he is in his records. And I'm like, well, I can't bullshit people. I had to tell people what's really going on.
Right. Yeah. And that's I completely understand that as well. And putting those like personal experiences into lyrics, I did want to ask about this as well. On Iridescence, I think I can't remember the exact bar, but you mentioned that you don't go to church, but you're spiritual. And then Roadrunner, you guys kind of seem to have almost like a religious undertone to that album. I was wondering, how does religion play into your music, and how has it changed over the course of your musical journey?
I think religion and just like God is like a pivotal part because it would be odd to me if like how man, how are there musicians right now and like you're not talking about like the pandemic? Like how are you not talking about um the insurrection on January 6th? Like
Right.
how you not talking about all this stuff that's like going on around? It's wild to me that like you don't hear rappers talking about it. But it's like it's the world, like this is what you're thinking about on a day to day. I mean, and it'd also be wild if we didn't talk about like money and women, because like those are the things that like we're thinking about. Like these
Every
are
day. Yeah.
core survival aspects of life. But God is also up there with it too. It's like we all have our relationship with spirituality, and it's like I don't really try to talk about it outside of music. I really don't try to talk about it outside of like just like picking people's brains and just understanding what they believe and like how they came to that. But I think once you understand people's conception of what God is and what your personal God is, like that's one of the most powerful things that you can understand about somebody because you're understanding how they view the world. Because okay, like everything's about framing, right?
Right.
Like everything's about framing. Like, okay, you might stumble across $20 and you might be like, oh wow, I got lucky. Another person is like, this is improbable circumstance. It's just improbable. Another person might be like, oh, God bless me. And
God did.
yeah, none of those things are wrong. They're all just a matter of framing. They're all just a matter of like, okay, what some person calls a demon, another person calls a mental illness. And as long as like we're all looking at the same thing, and I'm learning, and as long as we're all looking at the same thing and we're describing the thing, I think that's the most important part. But I think as people, the best way to understand each other is to learn all these different means of framing. Because once you learn how other people see the world, you see all the different possibilities that of what the world could be.
Right. And so you mentioned like framing a lot and like personal framing. So I guess that brings me, when you talk about God and mention God in music, is it more of like a personal God to you, or do you mean in a literal church sense? Like, how do you mean by that?
How do you mean? What do you mean?
I mean, so you were mentioning like everybody sees it differently in framing and stuff. I don't know if you mean God in a literal like biblical sense in your music, or if it's more just like seeing God as just more of a metaphorical sense in your music.
I mean, I really wouldn't want to over analyze my lyrics, honestly,
Okay.
because I feel like it's only right to leave that up to interpretation. Like if I say Jehovah and you think that I mean the underlying line, the underlying structure of the universe and logos and just like the laws of the universe, Um, that's fine. If you think I mean universal consciousness, that's fine. If you think I mean the
Mhm.
Judeo-Christian God, that's fine. Like literally, I don't want to describe my lyrics because it may have an even better meaning that I haven't thought of to the listener. And really, who cares what I say? Like, bro, I'm as an actor, I can't be like, oh, I'm a great actor. It's up for the audience to say it.
Okay, yeah, that's very true, and I do like that, way of going about things, because I do feel like, so as somebody that is connected a lot with your music and your lyrics, I might have a completely different interpretation. You're very right about that. Which, and kind of on the subject of lyrics, I was wondering, what do you think? And if you don't want to talk about this to not overanalyze your lyrics, that's fine. But what do you think is kind of the best Merlin verse, or like the definitive Merlin verse that you've written, that you can show to somebody and be like, this is who I am? Or has that not come out yet, maybe?
There's different verses that I think show different sides. And there's my personal favorites and there's the audience versus personal favorites. Like I would
Mhm.
say one of my personal favorites is Windows, the poor more polite, but the floor not nice. I think those are bars. But everybody likes the line after that where I say, I just fucked your wife and my t-shirt looked like a wet wipe. Like everybody likes that line. And that line to me, I wasn't even like, I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. But I think the poor more polite, but the floor not. I'm like, bro, that's Shakespeare. But to me, I
Right.
mean, that's not what people gravitated to. So it's like, at the end of the day, who am I to say?
Mm. And I can understand that. And I kind of also wanted to ask, um, in terms of your lyrics and stuff, you were kind of known as the member that was like, loud Merlin, like kind of the, I don't want to say wild card, but the more, I guess, rambunctious member of the group. Is that a title that you don't really appreciate anymore, that you're trying to get away from, or do you kind of embrace like that loud energy still, you think?
Mm, man, the thing that troubles me the most is that I'm overly complex
Mhm.
and I don't just have one side. I have like so many sides. And like the the way that I act as on stage in my raps, in some raps, I'm not always like super loud, but the way that I act in that way, I don't think is that's not all of me. There's like so much complexity. But I think the cool thing about me that I mean, at least to me, is that I can rap like Nas, like, and I can rap like DMX, and like, it's not many people that can do both. They can MC, and I can literally just say, "We rock the party," and like that shit could go off. But I can rap some shit like the poem more polite, but the flow not nice, and it's on some Nas shit. You know what I'm saying? So I
Mhm.
like the fact that I can do to me, that's I would define my quality as versatility. Like I would
Right.
just say I'm a free spirit. Like I'm like I don't want to be tied down to a label. I really hate labels, which is really difficult for me as an artist because like everybody wants to be like, oh, this artist, okay, he's a UK gangster. Okay, this artist, he's a hippy dippy, trippy, freaky dicky one dude. And it's like everybody wants to quickly put somebody in a box when it's
Mhm.
like at the end of the day, where at least me personally, I'm so complex. Like, bro, if I had a conversation with myself from 10 years ago, I would disagree about almost every major issue.
Yeah, I can
But
completely
back
understand
then,
that.
I was passionate about all that stuff. It's like I've done 180s, like bro, yeah, I've gone far to one side, then I'll correct, then I'll go back. And it's like
Mhm.
at the end of the day, I'm just trying to find the truthiest truth. And I don't really want to be defined by what I think as much as how I think. And I think the way that I think is as a learner, as somebody that's open-minded and a free spirit.
Right. And I completely agree with that. And I've always kind of questioned whenever, people have mentioned that you're, the louder member of the group. I bring up verses like Milk, which is one of my favorites. I believe it's Milk, where you mention going to college for the first time. And I think it's a very quiet verse from you, and it's very powerful to me. And I do, I like to bring that one up whenever anybody, because I've never liked that label personally. And another question, sorry, moving on to another thing here, was well, it's still similar, but are there any verses that you've written that maybe were so honest that it's like hard to listen to? Is there anything like that?
Definitely No Halo is really
Also,
tough for me to
yeah,
listen to. Definitely One of Us is really tough for me to listen to because a lot of these are like issues I'm still going through. Like I'm still going through days where I don't want to get out of bed. I'll be much less than when I was like 13 or in my teenage years, but like it's still an issue. Like I don't feel like you completely get through the past because sometimes the past is not through with you. And listening to them songs, while it's therapeutic, it also puts me back into that mode. I don't, man. I don't really like being reminded of my bad times when I'm happy. I really don't. I
right.
don't know about people, but like I'll have a day. I'll literally, I'm, you know, I may be, I'm moody. I'm moody. I like to say that because, I may be bipolar. I haven't been diagnosed, but when people hear bipolar, they think crazy. But, I may be bipolar. But it's like I'll have days where I'm like, bro, you know what, man? I can talk to any girl. I can talk to any girl I want, man. Like, and then like my homie Zuli would look at me. It's like, hey, bro, weren't you just sad? And you're like, bro, saying you'll always be alone. And I'm like, bro, why you bringing that up? I'm like thinking about the bad times when I'm in the good times.
Yeah, I totally feel that. So, there are then a lot of verses that you just kind of would prefer not to, think about anymore. But like putting them out then at the time, was that therapeutic for you? Uh, you think?
Yeah, totally, bro. If I never made a dime off making music, bro, like again for the rest of my life, I would still have to make music. And it's not even like, bro, it's literally just a part of life. It's therapy for me. Like when I can like bang on a piano or like strum a guitar or yell into a microphone or speaking softly into a microphone, like just expressing my thoughts or just journal it down. Like it's the greatest relief. Like otherwise it's like, bro, it's like holding in puke when you're drunk or holding in shit when you gotta take a puff of shit. Like it's literally like the worst compression of excess weight that
Yeah,
you just need that release. And like you don't know how good you don't know how good puking feels until after you puke.
right. And I also, as like a side product of that, you are getting that out there, and other people that maybe don't have the means to express themselves in the same way, like musically or anything like that, or any creativity, or I guess creative form. Like you are putting it out there, and you are also helping them to just relate, and it just helps. Which kind of guides me into my next one. You have a Discord server, which is actually how I contacted you. But you have a Discord server where you're able to like interact with your fans. And what has that been like? How has it been being able to interact with your fans and hear their perspective on everything? Like, do you enjoy it?
Yeah, I enjoy it. It's weird. It was weird. Okay, I want to. I don't want to rub people the wrong way. Okay, the only reason why I think it was weird is because like I saw the Discord server at first. I'm like, oh man, I'm gonna chop it up with people that they enjoy me. But then people were so shy at first that like it's like bro, like I started by trying to have a book club, and then like I do the book club, and for one, nobody read it, and then two, people were just kind of just like, oh damn, it's Merlyn, and it was like. But like, just talk to me like a real person. I'm gonna talk to you like a real person, and we'll both have such a great experience. And I think at first it was kind of like that awkward, like little footsie of like, oh damn, you're a fan. Oh damn, you're Merlyn. I don't know. To me, this just sounds so fucking weird to be like, and that's why I don't mean to shit on anybody when I say when I say what I say. I just mean it's like at first there was a little bit of awkwardness, but I think over time I've been able to like just be super open with people. Because even me, there's that weirdness, there's that awkwardness. It's like, oh damn, I don't want to ruin people's conception of what Merlyn is. Because some people, for whatever reason, maybe they see me in a certain light as an ideal. And then it's like it's hard for me to, I don't want to just be like, oh damn, I feel shitty. I feel sad to that. But like it's gotten to the point where like I can just say that in the Discord and we can all just talk about our feelings and be like, yo, damn, what do you do when you're depressed? What do you do? What you listening to? Oh, I don't like this. I tried this. And we can just be super candid. And I love that. That's kind of what I wanted, the relationship I wanted with my fans.
You wanted you and your fans to kind of be on the same level, you mean?
Yeah, and I know that breaks the rules of fame in a way, because it's like the whole idea of fame is this idea of scarcity and like preciousness and like, oh damn, they're this like golden idol on a hill. But I don't really care to be that, honestly. I'd rather like meet a fan and then like they shake my hand and then we just chop it up. You know what I'm saying? Like I'd rather like it be on that type of level, because like I look at the fans like I don't look at myself like, oh, I'm up here, the fans are down here. I don't really look at it like that. I look at it like, yo, we're both humans having a human experience and we're connecting.
And I very much appreciate that, because I mean, obviously, if you weren't on that level, I wouldn't even be interviewing you right now. And I'm glad again, very glad you're actually here. I only have a little bit of time left to be able to interview you. So I got a couple last questions here. And this one, again, I asked you about this previously, but just not going to touch on this too much. But what's the relationship like with you and the rest of the members of Brockhampton?
I mean, if you think about Brockhampton, it's really like 144 relationships. If you do 12 to the power of 12, that's 144.
It's a lot going on. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot. So it's like I have, and it's probably even more than that, honestly, because you think about it, it's like HK and Ashlyn have a relationship as part of the visual team. The producers have certain relationships, like Ian and the producers have a different relationship than me and Ian. There's so many different relationships. So it's like you put me out, it's really it's a little tricky to talk about. But let me just say, like, I have an immense respect for them, and no matter what, I would never shit on something that like got me further in life. Like me, I'm just the type of guy, I'm never gonna shit on McDonald's. Like, not to compare Brockhampton to McDonald's, but I'm comparing Brockhampton to McDonald's. I used to work at McDonald's, by the way, because I love McDonald's that much. But like, and I don't really eat McDonald's anymore. But it's like I'm never gonna be like, oh, McDonald's is bullshit. No matter, I'm not gonna shit on McDonald's, because like McDonald's held me down at a certain point in time. Like that was giving me life. And I feel the same way about Brockhampton. Is like Brockhampton is not perfect, and the people in Brockhampton are not perfect, nor am I perfect. So I'm not gonna cast stones. Yeah, so I just gotta, like, the past is perfect, and I'm thankful for everybody that everybody contributed, that we had those moments together, that we shared. And I feel like if you're family with somebody, or if you love somebody, like, that love is always gonna be there. And everybody in Brockhampton knows I got love for them, and I think that's the most important part.
That's a great thing to hear, obviously, that you have no ill will towards anybody. Which again, as a fan, that's always, I guess, comforting for me to hear after the ending last year. And I guess one of the last things I wanted to ask was, what final message, or just whether it just be promoting yourself or a message of positivity, what do you have to the people that are watching this right now? Or I guess, what do you want them to take away from this interview?
Never lose hope. Always look forward and always have hope, have faith that you can have dreams and like go after your dreams. Because there's many times where I nearly thought I would never make it. There's many times where I've had relationships that I thought were gonna completely break. But over time, I mean, and like, bro, I've always had faith in that people were going through something, or people were experiencing something that I didn't know of, or that something would happen in terms of my goals that would take me to the next level, even though I couldn't see it. And I don't know. People look at me and they're like, "Oh, damn, you made it." And it's like, bro, I feel like I haven't made shit. And I look towards the future with uncertainty. And I think we all have the same fear at the end of the day, where we go to bed and we're not sure about the future. We're afraid of what's gonna happen next. Will I ever find the love of my life? Will I achieve the career goals that I have? Will my relationships be successful? And what kills us over time is the doubt. So have hope, have faith that you will be all right. And the other that along with that, I would just say, bro, like learn to love yourself, because it's like, bro, this is a long ass tangent, but it's like when I found fame inside of Brockhampton, like I didn't love myself completely as I should have, and I ended up buying like jewelry, chains, like all this stuff, trying to fill up the gap that I could have filled up by just knowing myself and loving myself. But it took me a roundabout way to go through a bunch of material things and a bunch of relationships that weren't healthy to realize that none of that means shit. Like, bro, like you could look at me like, oh, yo, you're successful as hell, but it's like success isn't the goal; it's a mindset. So, like, if I don't love myself, and if I can look back on my own success and be like, oh, damn, I achieved this, like I'm not gonna feel successful. If I don't love myself, I could be with 1,000 partners that I wanted at a point in time. But if I don't love myself, I'm gonna feel like the loneliest man on earth. I'm gonna feel like nobody knows me, that nobody truly loves me, because I don't love me. So it's like, just understand that, like, if you don't love yourself, no other accolade, achievements, or attention is going to fill that gap.
So self-love is your main message, and make sure that everybody focuses on that before literally anything else.
Yeah, I said so, yeah.
All right. That's a really good message to have. Before we go, could I just get you to say, this is Merlyn Wood, and you're listening to 90.7 WUVT-FM?
What's the acronym?
Sorry. This is Merlyn Wood, and you are listening to 90.7 WUVT-FM.
Yo, this is Merlyn, and you're listening to 90.7 WVTV
FM.
Yeah. FM,
Right.
baby. WVTV FM, baby.
Yeah, Merlyn. You got it.
All right.
All right. Seriously, thank you so much.